and welcome to the session for a recap on our 2021 Android Developer Summit. So my name is Sagar, Developer Relation Engineer at Google, and I'm really pleased to have you join us today for a recap on the latest announcement on Android Dev Summit. So without further ado, let's go into the key topics. Just before we proceed, Julius, can you confirm the slides are okay?
Looking good?
Okay, cool. So here's what's agenda for today. So we will start off with a discussion on Jetpack Compose, Material U. Then quickly go through the updates on Jetpack libraries, Android 12L, which is for large screens, some updates on Wear OS and Play updates. So let's go for Jetpack Compose. So we'll walk you through the Material U and the updates that happen for Jetpack Compose. So Material U. So it's a part of Material 3, which is the next evolution of material design and includes a Material U styling and feature. So it's a radical new design vision focused on delivering experiences that are personal for every style, accessible for every need, and adaptive for every screen. So Jetpack Compose, as you might be familiar with it, is the Android's new modern native UI toolkit to help you build better apps faster. We are excited to announce the launch of new Compose Material 3 Jetpack library, now available in alpha at the ADS that happened some time ago. So it includes many new great features of Material U, like dynamic color, updated theming and components, and many more. So you can begin by adding the new dependency for Material 3 in build.gradle. So let's check about the sample, some of the sample apps that we had already published during ADS that can help you to get started and know more about how to build such app. So JetChat is our sample chat app built with Jetpack Compose and currently uses theming and components from Material Design 2. But in our ADS talk, we use the latest Compose Material 3 to implement this beautiful update to the JetChat. So what did we do? So we updated the color scheme. So we use the light color scheme to create an instance of color scheme with light baseline values and overriding with custom colors. Or you can use a dark color scheme for baseline default values. We provided one utility function called is system in dark theme, which will determine whether the current system is considered to be a dark theme. For typography, the Material Design 3 has a new type scale, including text styles that have been adopted from Material 2. The naming and group have been simplified to display headlines, title, body, label, including large, medium, or variety of font sizes. Compose models this with a new typography class. So its parameters are named after styles in Material Design 3 type scale. For the elevation, so broadly speaking, elevation has changed from using the shadows in Material 2 to tonal color overlays in Material 3. This is a new way to distinguish containers and surfaces from each other. Increasing tonal elevation uses more prominent tone. Elevation overlays were part of dark theme in Material 2, which have now also changed to tonal color in Material 3. If you look at the surface, we have introduced a new version of surface for Material Design 3. It accepts the tonal elevation parameter and handles rendering tonal color in both light as well as dark themes. So surfaces are backing composable behind most material components. So let's take a look at how it's introduced in Compose Material 3. We have also updated components. Material 3 includes a variety of updates to components like buttons, app bars, dialogues, navigation components, and so on. These updates make use of new Material 3 theming values and include fresh new updates to each component specification. Well, since this is what we were introduced for the JetChat, if you want to get more information, you can watch our ADS talk on implementing Material U using Jetpack Compose. So all the links will be posted in the description after this chat or during the comment sections. So that you don't have to type all the links and you have free access to the content. Next, what we introduced was the Jet Snack app. So it's one of the Compose sample snack ordering app that we had developed. So state is something really important for the app. From what items to show on the home screen, allowing user to filter snacks and keeping track of shopping cart. And this is just an example, but the reality is that plays a crucial role in most of the apps. So we look to the quality on how we can update quantity in the cart item. What is state hoisting? So this state hoisting, in a very simple term, is just a pattern of moving private state out of composable. So we ideally strive to make the composable stateless. A stateless composable is basically a composable that doesn't hold any private state. So composable receives state as parameters and communicate events up in using the lambdas. So this makes composable more usable and testable, as it is not coupled to any specific way of handling data. So the state that is hoisted this way can be shared and intercepted if needed. Then managing state is done by defining the source of truth. So composable, if you look, is the simple UI element state management. If the UI element state to handle is simple, it could be placed in the composable itself. So in the example, the JetSnack app, composable hold the scaffold state. Then we can look at the state holder. So Jetpack Snack app will be the source of truth for JetSnack's app UI. And in a nutshell, a state holder is just a plain class that holds UI elements state and contains UI related logic. This favors separation of concern by reducing composable complexity and favors the testability. And then we have view model. So view model is basically a state holder for accessing business logic plus screen state. If I would like to summarize, a view model hoists a state out of the composition. So they are responsible for the business logic of the app and decide what data to display on the screen. As usually, this data and logics come from the another layers of the hierarchy, depending on what's the structure of your app and so on. So due to this, view models are recommended for screen level composables. We have a beautiful talk on this topic too. It's called a compose state of mind, and the links will be provided soon. So let's see what we saw in Jetpack Compose. We introduced several new features and a guide to incorporate them in your app. So let's take a look at some of them. We introduced widgets. We build modern app widget, covers water widgets, improvements in Android 12, and better tooling. In the animation talk, we will focus on Animation Reimagine, which introduces the brand new Animation API and how to imagine it. For the layouts talk, if you want to view it, you can get ready to dive into layout, explaining how it works under the hood, the capability it has, how the bundle layouts and modifiers are built, and how you can easily create the custom layouts. For the dynamic color, we deep dive into how dynamic color interact with the distinct brand expression in your app. And we also provide new tooling for visualizing dynamic color and seeing those changes getting reflected in your app's UI. This is not it. We also prepared a playlist for you on all of these topics related to Compose. So do check it out on those. With that, let's just move on a quick updates on some of the Jetpack libraries that we had seen. Let's take a look at Room 2.4 and what it brings. So with Room 2.4, we introduce auto migration. Before this library, you had to implement a manual migration class in which you would write and execute the SQL statements to migrate between versions of your database. Well, it of course increased lots of verbosity in order to write all the script manually and ensure the data loss is at the minimal. But we covered it up with Room 2.4. We have made migrations easy. Database migrations allow you to update your database schema with any changes between versions while avoiding the data loss. So during the migration, Room will check and validates this updated schema. All done with the use of few annotations, and the more details and in-depth analysis you could find on the videos in the link. We introduced relational query methods. To represent the relationship, we can now write a simple DAO method with a return type of map. You only need to provide the query and the return type. Room will take care of the rest. This introduces and reduces the verbosity issues which were caused due to additional data model created to support the relationships only. We introduce enum type converters. So Room will now default to using enums to string and the other way around if none of the converters are provided. So if a type converter for an enum already exists, Room will prioritize using it over the default one. We introduce query callbacks. So you may sometimes want to log queries to see what's going on in your database. Well, we added callbacks to the Room database builder so that when a DB is running queries, it will get logged, giving you better control and better understanding of how it's being currently executed. We have extended support for Pagination 3.0 and RxJava. Of course, this comes with an additional part that you require the additional artifacts to be declared in the build.gradle. We have also introduced an experimental feature to support the Kotlin symbol processing. So it's basically a native replacement for KAPT that runs annotation processor as part of Kotlin compilation. So that's all for Room 2.4. Now let's take a look at WorkManager API. So for WorkManager, we introduce fresh APIs that enable your app to get back to the foreground even when the background restrictions are in place. You can now request to be run immediately while your app is in foreground, and it will continue to run even if your app is put in the background. With the new Work Multiprocess library, WorkManager introduced APIs and improvements under the hood that helps large applications to schedule and run in a dedicated process more efficiently. We also added APIs that enable testing single workers and entire work continuations. As a developer, you have now access to the detailed debug logs as well as inspection directly from Android Studio. We wanted to make it easier to run long-running work. That means work which can learn more than 10-minute execution window that work typically get. To make this possible, WorkManager binds the worker's life cycle to that of the foreground service. Users have limited attention span, so we provided the APIs to make stopping of such long-running work from notification tray itself. So do check out the new introductions to the WorkManager API. We also introduced a window manager. It's basically a library that gives you a backward compatibility API to work with window sizes and metrics. It provides you the accurate measurements to load correct resources. So we introduce window size class, which basically provides the native layout breakpoint and enables you to adapt your UI. It's helpful while selecting right layout for different device type and responding to different window sizes. So with all, the Windows Manager package allows you to calculate and get all these matrices which will be useful during your development. Now let's take a look at some of the experimental features that we were really excited to announce. So devices that have multiple displays can introduce new way of interacting with them. One exciting example is rear display mode that allows using high quality primary camera while showing the preview to the user. It will be great for taking selfies with the main camera, which is of course is a more powerful version available on your phones. We are working on a new set of APIs to support the use case. Look for it coming among the experimental WorkManager Jetpack API soon. Now let's look what we had for Android L, what we did for the large screens. From Android 12 onwards, all tab will run in the multi-window mode by default. The app might run in a split screen, in a window size inside another app, and the app needs to take into account the window dimensions and exclusive hardware like exclusive access to hardwares like camera or microphone. To enable this, we improved the task manager, which makes it easier to support the multitasking. It simplifies switching between the apps and navigating back and forth to the screen. So imagine on a large screen, the app bar makes it easy to drag apps in a split screen or your multiple window mode. The apps now will be able to load either in split screen or a multi-window mode, regardless they have declared it to resizable. So which means it comes down to you to ensure support for resizables and to avoid your app getting restarted or app being added to the compatibility mode. So when you're building for it, do ensure to test out on the foldables. Well, since testing is the major part, we also came up with the foldable emulator available as 12L. Let me play the video. The 12L feature drops comes with API and SDK level 32, which empowers you to easily target new features. You can get ready to start all these features by getting the Android Studio emulator with 12L system image, which now allows you to test split screen, foldable, and rotations. I hope the video played. So thinking about how to get started on 12 app, do check out our developerandroid.com 12L, the feature drop, and the Jetpack window manager that we just saw in the Google foldables. Now let's take a quick look on Wear OS updates. Many developers created helpful experience for the latest version of Wear OS, which launched earlier this year. And we are looking forward to the richer, more impressive app experiences. As you know by now, the Jetpack Compose library simplifies and accelerates UI development. And we are bringing the Compose support to the Wear OS. You can design your app with familiar UI components adapted for the watch. This component includes Material U so that you can create beautiful apps in less code. We also have our other updates for Watch Face Studio, our APIs, design tools, and the Play Store for Wear OS. We watch the faces are one of the most visible ways that user can express themselves on their smartwatches. Creating a watch face is a great way to showcase your brand for users on Wear OS. We have partnered with Samsung to provide better tools for watch face creation and make it easier to design watch faces for the VR ecosystem. Watch Face Studio is a design tool created by Samsung that allows you to produce and distribute your own watch faces without any coding. It includes intuitive graphic tools to allow you to easily design watch faces. You can create watch faces for personal use, upload it to Play Console, to share with your users on VR device, but the minimum support API level is 28 and above. We provided style editing, which customize the app face color, background image, font, and more. The grouping and complications components so that you can control or move the components with a single action. You can handle an entire complication as one group. You can add tags with date, time, battery, setup step counts, information, and many more using the tag expressions. To help you follow the best practices, reduce boilerplate code, and create pre-format, glanceable experience for your user, we have just recently released first 5 stable Android Jetpack libraries, which includes VR input, VR ongoing, VR for interactions, VR remote interaction. We also introduced Tiles API. So Tiles provides easy access to the information and actions user need in order to get things done. With a simple swipe from the watch face, a user can find out latest forecast or start a timer. Tiles are now enabled for most devices in the market, providing predictable, glanceable access to information and quick actions. The Tiles API allows developers to build custom tiles that users can include in their watch. With Jetpack Face APIs for developers who want more fine-grained control of their watch faces, we launched new Jetpack Watch Face APIs, which is an RC build from ground up in Kotlin. The new API offers features such as watch face styling, which persists across both the watch as well as the phone. We provided smaller, separate libraries. You only need to include those you need. The battery improvements, and by encouraging the battery usage patterns out of the box. For example, we reduce the interactive frame rate when battery is low. New screenshot APIs can see their watch face changes in real time, and many more features which you can rely on. So this is a great time to start moving from the older watch face support library to this new version. For the Play Store, we also updated filtering to make it easier to discover and download compatible apps for VR Watch. For Play Store on your phone, search has been improved with new filter to add watch or watch faces to narrow down your search to relevant apps and watch faces. So do go and check those out. Since we are talking about Play updates, let's see what are the new changes that we have brought. We have been building new features to help developer in the growth of their own platforms. So including enhancement to trust and safety, tools to boost app quality, and improve monetization. We also provided some of this for games and an exciting new app marketing certificate. So evolving your business model to address developer need. We have made important changes to ensure all types of businesses can be successful on Google Play. We now have multiple programs designed to support our app ecosystem with 99% of developers qualifying for a service fee of 50% or less. Recently, we announced that starting 1st of January 2022, we are decreasing the service fee for all subscriptions on Google Play from 30% to 15%. Additionally, we are making changes to the Play Media Experience program, where ebooks and on demand music streaming services will now be eligible for a service fee as low as 10%. We have done improvements to trust and safety. Data safety section lets user to know what type of data your app collects and shares and how the data is used. By giving developers a way to showcase your approach to privacy and security, we are not only building trust, we are helping users make informed decisions about the app they install and use. We are investing in new developer tools that help you protect your apps and games from abuses and attacks, so you can ensure your users have experience you intended. The new Play API integrity will let you determine if you are interacting with the genuine app binary installed by Google Play and running on a genuine Android device that's powered by Google Play services. If not, you can decide how to best introduce additional friction and reduce the risk to your app. We have found more ways to improve the app quality. First, we are making it easier for you to be alerted to and fix new issues with improvements to Android vitals. Your most recent data is now more visible to you and you see issues right away. And we have added trends to filters and app version information to help you identify the source of the issues in a quick time. We also recently launched a new tool in Play Console called Rich and Devices to help you understand which features or fixes you would help to reach to most of the users of Google Play. By understanding your user and issue distribution, you can make better decisions about which specs to build for, where to launch, and what to test to make the biggest impact. We are making changes to the way users evaluate your app quality too. Starting in November, users on phone will start to see ratings specific to their register country. In early 2022, users will see ratings specific to the device that they are on, including form factors such as tablets, Chromebooks, and wearables. We have updates to help you monetize to your app. A billing library version 3, where we continue to invest in modernizing our platform, including updates to the billing library. The latest version of Billing V3 includes new ways for users to pay subscription, promotion, purchase attributions for games, and improvement to the purchase reliability and security. Today, subscription users who go into the payment decline often aren't aware of it or experience too much friction to fix their payment. That's why we have launched a new API in-app messaging that can detect whether a user is in payment decline and show a helpful message right in your app so the user can immediately fix payment without leaving the app to go to the Play Store. On an average, our early access partners saw a 99% improvement in subscription recovery spent for users who saw the message. We strive to provide seamless grieving experience. The updated signing API for Play game services drastically simplifies the sign-in implementation. It's still now in early access. The new SDK makes for one-line implementation. We have also simplified the setup for users, combining the Google Play game install and profile creation in one step. This allows users to get back to their game more quickly, even when they don't have Play games installed. We are also streamlining the process of opting to auto sign in for an even smoother experience for returning users. Starting in 2022, Play game services will no longer require this installation. This will allow 2 billion users to sign in your Play game services enable games with a zero touch experience. We announced the launch of Google Play Store Listing Certificate. This is a new program is designed to help app marketers demonstrate their proficiency and skills in Play Store listing. best practices. To get certified, app makers can take online training that will help you best tell your app or game story on Google Play. You will learn key skills that will help you drive growth through high quality and policy compliant store listings. After the training, you can take the exam to get the industry recognized certificate. So that's it from my talk for this session. We would love to hear if in case you have any questions.
So one of the questions that came in is actually with regards to Jetpack Compose, because I think everyone's talking about Jetpack Compose. And do you have any advice on like how companies can think about, migrating their current setup to using Jetpack Compose?
Sure. I think what we had done in this ADS also, we released several code labs that are available to access for Jetpack. We also have a specific pathway that guides you for migrating to the Jetpack Compose. So it highlights you about how to handle your theming, your different color in case you have multiple brands for your app. It also highlights a step-by-step process on how to deal with them. And I think not only that, we also support some interoperability. So you doesn't need to have 100% Jetpack Compose app on the day one, but you can slowly progress towards it. So I can share also the links to these code labs that help you with this migration.
So does the foldable emulator in the Android Studio support portrait flip phones apart from landscape?
Yeah, I think so. If you're referring to when you close it and you can see in front, yes, yeah, I'm not sure the video played. So if you see the video, you can actually fold it and have a pro portrait flip to test out your apps.
Hmm. Okay, we have another pre-submitted question in. So I'm gonna pick it up. Okay, so for Google Play ratings and reviews, will I be able to see reviews outside of my country? Reviews different from my phone model.
I think there were certain restrictions on about updating countries from your play settings. I know previously, long time ago, you could change it, but currently, I think that's kind of restricted. But whether or not to see review, I think I need to check on it if we are planning to make it possible that you will see the reviews outside of the country.
Awesome.
Cool. I think we still have another question for Jetpack Compose. Is there a minimum Android version that Jetpack Compose support?
I think we were trying to get it down as low as API 14, if I'm not wrong, if my memory is good. So we were also trying to because it's a library, so we are trying to be mindful to ensure that the apps. I mean, we see the distribution rate on how many minimum levels you need to support. So we got it covered for backward compatibility.
Sounds good. Looks like it's something that we are strongly encouraged to do for the, probably for 2022 to start migrating to Jetpack Compose and enjoy the benefits.
Yeah, I think we also have several cookbooks and samples out there for variety of complex UIs and the most common patterns that you normally see with recycler views and so on. Although we don't have recycler views going to towards in Compose, but you can find all those material in the code labs.
Cool, cool, cool. Thank you so much, yeah, Sagar.
Okay, we have one question from our audience. I'm going to pull up a question from Wen Long. So yeah, is fragment will it no longer be used in Jetpack Compose?
No, I think we still have fragments in. So your fragment is actually hosting like a container, and on top of it, you'll push all your compose layout. So we are not running away with fragments yet.
Awesome.
I think there's still another one. Let's see. Uh, okay, okay, I'm trying to pull it out now. Okay, there we go. So earlier you did talk about Android 12L, whereby you can have multiple apps side by side. But then, like, is there a particular aspect ratio? Let's say, for example, I have games, and I want to preserve certain aspect ratio for certain reasons. Can I define that in my in my app?
I think ideally we provide a way that you calculate this type of aspect ratio and maintain. But based on my testing so far, I found out that the aspect ratio is currently maintained for the multi-video mode. But we only tested like few of them. So ideally we should be supporting the ratios and not try, but it also depends on how you handle it. So as I said during the talk, you need to ensure that you have smooth when you fold, flip, unflip, that you check the appropriate measures. Because right now we have something called multi-video, multi-window. Then we have something called split screens. So you need to use the window manager to ensure you properly calculate the dimensions that need for your app. Because I see some apps, if you don't calculate it, will get stretched, especially on the square size screens when you unfold it.
Right, that makes sense. That makes sense. Thank you, thank you.
Okay, we have a follow-up question from Along. So yeah, I think following up from the earlier fragment question, so you're saying if composable is some sort of UI, then what is the need of fragment at this stage?
Oh, I think composable, yeah, agreed. It's kind of emitting the UI, but you need fragment mostly, let's say, to manage your state, to navigation. You need some place that you will be also tying up for your view model and so on. So by default, composables are stateless. So you don't want to put too much state recording all your live data stuff inside, because whenever the recomposition happens, you might be putting too much stress. So if you have some stateful, which of course most of the apps currently have, you need to go through fragment. You need someone to take care of the states for you. So ideally we put it in view model, which is tied to some form of lifecycle owner, and da da da. So
Okay, we have another question from the audience. This one's an interesting one. I'll pull it up first. By Horizontal. Yep. So he's asking, is Jetpack Compose as superior as Flutter? And his comment is that it seems like Flutter has more widgets that's more friendlier than Jetpack Compose.
yeah, that you can argue whether it's a superior to Flutter, or Flutter has more widgets. We just launched the 1.0 for Compose. As we were saying in the videos, we are looking at Jetpack Compose as a UI design for next 10 years. So which will definitely have a wide array of improvements coming. So if you check the widget stock that we had in ADS, we definitely started with introducing more app widgets to support the developer needs. So just a start. We will be soon adding more features, some experimental features to check out. So Flutter has its own fan base, and with Jetpacks, it's catching up.